Hey guys, Chris Jarvis at Acrylic Pixel here. I'm going to do a video today about Tom Clancy's The Division. It's a game that's not out yet, but I'm going to talk to you about the trailer and my thoughts and feelings on it from a more environment artist background and the new technology that's going into making this game. So what sets this game out from others? Well, in my opinion, it's the new Snowdrop Game Engine, which has been specifically designed for the game. The good thing about that is you know that every single last drop of that new game engine is going to be going into the game. And so you're going to get a hell of a lot of new stuff by the looks of it. So the first thing that's really caught my eye from the trailer, which I'll post a video link to, is volumetric lighting. Now quite simply what that means is it's God rays, or it's shafts of light which you can see coming through the trees. It's used a lot in cinematography and has been used in video games in the past. But what sets out The Division and the new Snowdrop engine is that it's dynamic volumetric lighting. For example, if you shoot a sign, the sign will have bullet holes in it, and if the sun is behind the sign, shafts of light will come through those bullet holes in real time. So I've shot the sign, holes appear, and instantaneously the engine has calculated this and light shafts are now visible. It's a technique which is subtle but quite noticeable at the same time. It makes things look very cinematic. As I say, it's used in cinema quite a lot. The second thing that sets this game apart and the game engine is procedural damage. Now again, Red Faction game series has been quite famous for its procedural destruction. Now what do I mean by that? Basically what I mean is an item or an object, say for example a building, if you shoot it with a rocket it will crumble. It will crumble in a realistic manner. A lot of games you can shoot big powerful weapons and nothing crumbles or is destructible. Only certain items will be able to explode or disintegrate or crumble or fall apart. This is because it takes up a hell of a lot of computing power, and it's something that's been used in, again, feature films because you can take time to render it in just playing a video of something that's rendered out. Whereas in a video game it has to be real time because it has to react to the player's input. So this is the first time again when there's a substantial amount of destructible objects in the level. In the trailer it looks like a police car or a car's getting shot up and the mirrors are smashing and the bodywork is crumpling and the suspension is moving to make those bullet holes look even more realistic, and the way that the car would move seems to be more physically accurate. Gone are the days where you shoot a rocket launcher at a car, it will then instantly turn black just into a big black blob like GTA, the old GTA games. Particle effects is my next thing which I'm really excited about. Again, they're a staple in video games at the moment. What sets out The Division's particle effects is the fact that they can interact with coloured light. The trailer shows a red tail light or reverse light or brake light, a red brake light, we don't call them tail lights, a red brake light shining through steam coming from a vent. The steam particles look really complex. The way that they have been done in the past is that you'll have a 2D flat image of a picture of smoke and you'll have them layered up and semi-transparent, and it would just look like it's layered semi-transparent images of smoke. The Division trailer looks like the smoke is properly tiny little particles of water vapour. So light shining through these water droplets will create a dark red light to a lighter shade of red towards the edges of the smoke effect. It's this gradient which is, again, subtle if you're not thinking about it, but if you know what you're looking for, it makes it more realistic. So you'll just say, oh wow, look how realistic that is, but you won't be able to put your finger on it. But people that know what they're looking for will be able to go, there's a red gradient on that light. There's dynamic particle effects happening there. So that's really geeky. I've just heard it back in my head. It's really geeky, but it's still cool. The last thing, and probably the most groundbreaking and game-changing and innovative and step up and properly next generation game thing, is dynamic material shaders. What are dynamic material shaders? Well, dynamic material shaders are, if you have a car, for example, in the trailer, a car is an object, what we call an asset, and that will have been modelled by a modeller. Then you have to paint or texture this object, and what will happen is you'll usually get one, which we call a map, and it's like a flat canvas, and this flat canvas or map will have the painted information of what a car looks like. So the bodywork will be red, the tyres will be grey, the windows will have a different material on, getting complicated. The number plate will be yellow with numbers on, yada yada yada. What makes dynamic material shaders so much different is that you'll have several layers. So you have several different types of shader. So the trailer gives an example of a police car having nothing on its hood or on the rest of the car, and then dynamically changes with snowy conditions. Over time, snow will appear to build up on the bodywork of the car. Now what's happening is that there's maps on the car are transitioning, one with no snow on the car to one with lots of snow on the car. And as you slowly transition between those two, it has the illusion of snow building up on the car. This is really good and cool and must take a lot of power, and I'm really excited about it. Why am I so excited about it? Well, because it means that replaying levels along with dynamic lighting effects and a day and night cycle means that you could be playing a video game level, you could go from point A to point B and you could look at some cool stuff. But then, when you get to point B, suddenly a snowstorm hits or it starts to snow. The next part of the mission is then you going from point B back to point A. We'll call this point C. And it might be night time and it might be snowing. You'll be going back through the level and it will look completely different. Just like if you walk down the road in summertime, there'll be leaves on the trees and it'll be nice and sunny and the light will look more yellowy and bright. If you then walk past that same stretch of your road in the winter, you'll know it will look a lot different because the light will be doing something different and there might be snow on the ground. And it's these differences which is, in terms of weather, is quite drastic, and it's these which you can now have on this video game. That's why it's quite exciting. It will change the user experience playing a level, and it will give so much more replayability, which is something that games designers really struggle with because they design these levels and they look amazing, and you replay the level and it's really boring because you've seen it all before. Gamers are quite fickle and they get bored quite easily, so this is a really ingenious way of spicing things up and being really economic with the assets. You will no longer need to have one car that looks like it's snowy and one car that looks like it's not snowy. Also, I noticed that they have, on their Snowdrop engine, they have the ability to toggle how much rust and decay they have on their vehicles just by using sliders. So they've also got rust and decay maps which they can cycle through. Again, it looked as though they were transitioning between one and the other. So you could have 3 cars, one could have no rust and decay, one could have a medium amount of rust and decay, and a third one could have complete rust and decay, and you've only used 2 maps. Again, this is really a good way of keeping everything small. It's reducing the number of maps that are needed, and you get a lot of variation in your assets. It's another thing which makes the game look more, a term we use is grounded in reality. So that's my top 4 best new things to look forward to in Tom Clancy's The Division. Like, comment, share, subscribe. What do you think about the video? Do you want to see something else about The Division? Is there anything I've left out? Let me know.